Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Alex Franz, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my good friend, Jeffrey Pfeffer, and his organizational theory, the power in organizations, and how he describes you can influence your power at work and influence your success at work. So we're going to break it down into five steps or five ideas by Jeffrey, and take you all on a little bit of a journey as we dive into his organizational theory. So point number one by Jeffrey is that hierarchy still exists, and in many cases, hierarchy is still chosen in organizations, whether that be the President of the United States, who is elected by the majority, the CEO, who is appointed by the board on a majority vote, a mayor or a council member. These people are still chosen, and many theorists and many others will argue that hierarchy is starting to break down. Well, Jeffrey doesn't believe that. Jeffrey believes it's still in full effect, and it's just always going to be a part of life. There's always going to be someone on top, and there's always going to be people below them. How you obtain that power, though, is one of Jeffrey's next big points. With the understanding that hierarchy is going to be in place, one must also understand that as long as there's hierarchy, people are going to want to be at the top. Whoever you are, whoever it may be in the organization, whether it's the lowest janitor or the second in line to be CEO, those people will always want to obtain that highest level of power. And that's just human nature. So we know power always is going to exist, and we know power is always present in an organization, but how do we obtain that power? The best way to acquire power is to construct a positive image and presentation of yourself. So whether that be through the work that you present, always doing something correctly on time, or dressing well to an event or something along the like, if you present yourself like you have power, people over time will begin to agree with that. So that goes along with self-enhancement, making yourself appear to be the best, as well as reflective glory. This is the idea of associating yourself, basically with how Jeffrey describes it, is associate yourself with winners. If you are constantly around someone who's succeeding, and you're working on those projects with them, and you're getting in the office of the CEO or the higher up in the organization, eventually people will start to correlate their power with you. If they turn in a fantastic assignment, it has your name on it, over time people are going to see that you yourself are successful, and start to grant you more power in the organization. This is a central idea towards to moving up. Another idea that Jeffrey constantly talks about is that successful people, or just people in general, want to be friends with and associate themselves with people that are like them. So if you want to be like the CEO, the very successful person in the organization or the company, he argues that you should try to be like them. Try to mimic their actions, mimic their ways and beyond. So we just talked about point number 3. That brings me on to point number 4 from Jeffrey, is that people evaluate others on likability and competence. Those are the two main things that he describes as how people immediately, when seeing you or being with you for an extended period of time, is that likability and competence. That if you're a likable person and you know what you're doing, you are more likely to be successful. And that ties into everything else we've been going through here, is that if you're associating yourselves with likable and competent people, that might rub off on you and rub off on others' opinions on you. So one of the final points from Jeffrey that I think is, at least to me, was a little controversial, or maybe not as widely accepted, a little more out there, was that he has the idea of happy boss, happy life. To remember what matters to your boss, and to make him or her feel better about themselves is an excellent way to acquire power. Whether that be if the boss likes report to be submitted at this certain time each day, submit it earlier. So before we wrap things up here, I'd just like to make a call out to my fellow local government workers out there, and specifically the managers. Understand that you have power. Listen to Jeffrey. You do have power in your organization. Use that power to instill a sense of confidence in your staff and help them rise through your organization and empower them to be successful. And for those below the manager level, for those interns and other local government members out there, understand that success is obtainable. See where success is in your organization and try to mimic that. Talk to your manager, take an extra class, do a master's program in public administration, maybe through NIU, I don't know, I heard it's pretty good. Do something to enhance yourself and mimic the success around you, and you will see yourself start to gain power in your organization. So on that note, I thank you, Ted, and I thank you all for coming out here to listen, and now I open the floor up for questions and comments.